Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Thursday, the 29th day of March, year of our Lord 2018. Welcome to the John Moore Show. We don't have any news of any great importance, so we don't have a headline to really be talking about. Prepper tip of the day. I want to encourage all of you to visit your local charity-run thrift shops. Goodwill is no longer the bargain that they used to be in years past, but the charity-run thrift shops tend to be still great places to find a bargain for yourself or for those refugees you might be preparing for. So that's your prepper tip of the day. We have patient waiting in the green room, my friend Tim Spencer. Tim is a husband, a father, a grandfather, a rancher, a veteran of the United States Navy Submarine Corps, where he was both a submariner and a bubblehead, and proprietor of the excellent website, ruralsurvival.info. Good morning, Tim.
Good morning, John. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Well, waiting for the rain to end. You keep track of the rainfall. Are we caught up and past our drought now?
Actually, technically, no, but I think we're close. I think we're still about 3 or 4 inches under right here where I'm
No kidding.
Down here in Denton County.
I know we were quite a bit behind, and I thought with all this recent rain we might be getting close. I know that it's it's been a dramatic change, shift from the dryness to the wetness, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. But, you know, what's funny is one of the last clear days we had, my grandson and I went to transplant a few sugar maple trees. And, of course, he has to dig because it's kind of hard for me to balance on this shovel on one leg. However, I did try. That was funny. But
right.
Anyway, the ground 2 inches down is like talcum powder.
Really?
And that was like, let me see, last Saturday, after I got off the air.
You mean like the dryness, not the dryness of it, not the consistency of it.
Right. Well, actually, the consistency was a little bit like that. When you shoved the shovel down, it made a dust cloud.
No kidding, even after all this rain.
Yeah, that really surprised me. In fact,
it is a bit surprising.
Yeah,
it is a bit surprising.
Hopefully, with this rain we're getting now, hopefully that problem will be eliminated.
Now, I'm getting reports that parts of California are going back into a drought again. What do you hear?
Yeah, I heard the same thing. Yet I watched a video here in the past 2 or 3 days of massive flooding in some parts of California. In fact, I think one person was even killed. There was a guy that was in the Army going home on leave, a young gentleman. So I don't know what his rank was. I know he was enlisted from the picture of him in his uniform, but I didn't see any rank. So it looked like a quite fit, healthy young man, but he was in a white pickup truck. He had told his parents that he could get out, and he sent a picture of the water above the windshield. The witnesses said he tried to get out the back window, but he went back in the truck for something, and about that time the truck overturned in the water, and that was it, apparently. They found his body the next day 2 miles from where the truck was.
Well, the rule of thumb is don't drive into deep water. Simply don't do it.
Oh, I absolutely agree. You know, if it looks like it's halfway up my wheels, especially if it's flowing, I don't go in it. You know, I refuse to. I turn around and go home.
You know, that moving water can be very deceptive. You don't understand and not recognize the power of moving water, you could end up dead.
Oh, absolutely you could. You know, me, I'm a strong swimmer and all that, but I still don't take the chance. And I'm sure not going to walk through anything that's flowing swiftly that's above my ankles. I'm just not going to do it. You know, I'm not stupid.
Yeah. And so about once it gets to be about more than 4 inches deep, you're out of there, right?
You got it. You know, I know what water can do.
Well, I ruined one of my vehicles. This would have been about 1979 or so, driving through flood water it was a Volkswagen thing, and I thought I could do it, but I found out the hard way that you can only do so much, and then then you ruin the engine. So
that's right.
That's this. And for people who don't know what we're talking about, just pay heed. The smart thing to do is stay away from that moving water, anything more than 2 or 3 inches deep. And of course, the depth may be hard to determine just being at the edge of the water, right?
Oh, positively. But you know what people don't think about is, I can walk through 6 inches of flowing water. Maybe you can, but if that's flood water, you can't see through it. What about that 4-inch branch that comes under the water you don't see that knocks you off your feet? Because once you're off your feet, you've had it. It's that simple.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think we've whacked this.
That one to death.
We beat this one to death sufficiently.
Yes.
Tim, I know you're my webmaster. You hear my shows when you're posting them on YouTube and so forth. It appears that the next phase of the Russian communist plan is taking shape, where they gave the appearance of falling apart, their military, in the period 1989, 1990,
Right.
going into disarray and dysfunction. And now that phase is coming to an end, and they're revealing the existence of weapons far superior to anything we have in terms of hypersonic missiles,
Right.
Torpedoes that will, what they call cavitating torpedoes, that can go so fast they can't be intercepted, and other missiles and so forth.
Well, they've got that model.
It appears that they're getting ready to.
I was just going to say they got that Model 6 torpedo, which is actually a drone submarine that has a 100 megaton nuclear weapon, and that is huge. Extremely huge.
Well, that's you wouldn't need anything. The largest ship in the ocean wouldn't require anything that large to bring it down.
Well, it's not for a ship. It's for disabling ports.
Well, that would do that.
It would sink everything in a port and contaminate that port with radioactivity for the next 250, 300 years, where it could not be used. That's one of their fail-safe weapons.
I was going to say, it still sounds like overkill to me.
Well, the idea is denial of use. That is I don't see that being used unless they see no other choice. But they've also got mini nukes now. Tactical nukes, but on a much smaller scale. And these are nukes that would take out a football field area, not a 3 square mile area like our, 1950s, 1960s artillery nukes would. They can be very precise. They've also got the equivalent of our Tomahawks, and our Tomahawks can be nuclear armed too. But they are within 2 meters of being accurate, so they could use a very, very tiny warhead to take out, say, our Minuteman silos and stuff like that with deadly efficiency and not contaminate a large area of farming ground, which is where many of our silos are located. And, of course, you mentioned the hypersonic, which are incredible to me. Anything that goes 8,000 miles an hour and has the ability to change course and reverse direction is impressive.
Reverse direction?
Yeah, well, when I say reverse direction, 80 to 90 degree turn is what I'm reading it's capable of.
Well, that's still pretty phenomenal. Well,
yeah.
The point is, the Soviet bear, the Russian bear, is waking up, is well armed, and ready to assume what they believe to be their rightful place in ruling the world, aren't they?
Yeah, and the whole thing, we used to have that mutually assured destruction deal, where it was guaranteed if they launched on us, we would take them out even though we're as good as dead when we launch. Well, now none of that applies because, it used to be, I know about SSBNs because that's what I used to do, what they call boomers, missile submarines.
Right.
When I was in, there would be 18 to 25 of those on station all the time. And at the time, the Soviets couldn't track them. Now guess how many we have on Station Max?
I have no idea.
5.
5. Well, this is the legacy of the Obama administration, isn't it?
That is exactly correct. Both with Clinton, with Bush, because he was tied up on the war on terrorism, and Obama because he had some moral predication to disarming America. Nobody has made any improvement to our weapons in basically the last 20 years plus.
Well,
the Russians
by design.
have never stopped. Right. The Russians have never stopped improving their weapons. So they have now got that confidence where they truly believe they can win a nuclear war. And guess what? I think they might be right.
Well, we found out around 1996 that they were building massive underground cities in the Ural Mountains, and
right.
that may have been part of the long-range plan there, wouldn't you think?
Oh yeah, and all those submarines that and surface ships that they set and let rot in the late 80s up in, in fact, most of them are still sitting there. I've come to the conclusion the reason they did that was because it was cheaper to build new ones than it was to refurbish those old buckets of bolts they used to have. What a deception. You let your entire submarine fleet sit and rot, and the whole time you're building brand new ones.
Right. Well, there's maintenance of large complex weapon systems is incredibly expensive, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. We're talking 1980, a standard boomer refit. Even back then, in those dollars, was anywhere, depending on what they did, between $20 and $50 million for 30 days in port of work.
It adds up quick. I would hazard a guess that the Russians are not allowing female sailors on their submarines. What do you think?
I don't believe so. I truly do not believe so.
No,
I don't know that
for
a fact. That I just can't see that happening. Of course, then again, in 1980, I couldn't see that happening in our submarine force.
Right. Well, things have changed dramatically, to say the least. There is something in the news it does get my attention. This Saudi prince who locked up all the other Saudi princes beneath him apparently is meeting in New York with a bunch of Jewish rabbis. That's
yes, I read that.
Kind of unexpected, isn't it?
Yes and no. Even for the Saudis, they've got to win the hearts and minds of the people. In this case, the Jewish people. The rabbis are the perfect ones to do that if they can make the Jewish people believe that the House of Saud is actually an ally, which I think they're going to have a very hard time doing. Unless they focus only on the people of very low intelligence. I think the people in Israel realize that they will never be a true ally. They're going to be a group, or the House of Saud will take advantage of a situation where they can appear to be an ally. But I would never trust them if I was the Jewish people.
Well, unless the Wahhabis go away, which is not likely, you'd be pretty foolish to trust these people.
I agree.
The Wahhabis are, and they're the religious sect that control Saudi Arabia. They're known to be the most violent and vicious of all the Muslims, which have many violent and vicious sects. And the Wahhabis are also the one funding almost all the mosques being built in the United States, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Absolutely, they are. Yeah, in fact, right here in Rolla, 30 miles up the road, it was reconfirmed to me yesterday or the day before by somebody who works up there a lot, said there's 3 mosques just in Rolla, of all places, a town of 27,000 people.
I think it's 3 mosques and some kind of visitor center is actually what's there. Well, something's changed.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that's because of the university there. The university brings in students from all over the world, and ironically, the Missouri University of Science and Technology there at Rolla, Missouri, is the only university, I've been told, the only university in the United States that offers a PhD in explosives technology.
No wonder they got all the Muslims.
You too can get your PhD in explosives. Come to Rolla, Missouri, where you can meet with and live around a few Muslims and get your degree, your PhD. Well, it stands to reason they would also offer bachelor's and master's degrees, obviously, before they would get the PhD in explosives. And maybe they could teach the jihadists how to not blow themselves up before they blow up the infidels.
Yeah. Yeah.
It possibly makes smaller and lighter weight suicide vests that would avoid that they could avoid detection with, so they can blow up even more.
And ones that are also cooler. That desert heat takes a toll on them suicide bombers, John.
Absolutely. So they. One of the dead giveaways of a suicide bomber is they're sweating profusely. I know whenever I see a Muslim in a supermarket in St. Louis, I always look very carefully to see if they're sweating profusely, then I get away from them if they are.
Yeah, I hear you. The heavy winter coat in July gives them away, too.
Yep, you got to conceal the suicide vest. Well, we're taking questions, calls, and comments here at Republic Broadcasting at 800-313-9443. This whole thing about Stormy Daniels is pretty bizarre.
It is. I saw on the news, I did not read the article. I just saw on
Hold that thought, we got a break.
Sure.
We'll be back after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at the Thursday, the 29th of March, visiting with Tim Spencer, proprietor of ruralsurvival.info. Tim, you have a weekly radio show. Tell people how they can listen live to the archives, if you would, please, sir.
Oh, sure. Well, you can listen live right here on RBN from 10 a.m. till noon Central every Saturday morning. Name of the show is the Rural Survival Show, and it's basically where Lori and I, and usually Rick from Missouri, sit down. We talk about gardening, all kinds of different subjects. And it's basically just like people sitting around the old country store shooting the breeze. very laid back, very easygoing, and we let people call in and talk about anything they want to. So I encourage people to tune in. We really have a good time.
Outstanding. And also, you have a unique product that you put together. It's your unique product. It's a great start or a great addition to anybody and everyone's library. Tell us about that product and how people can get it.
All right, sure. Well, what it is, folks, is a flash drive. And on that flash drive are 1,570 publications. Everything from gardening to 1,001 uses for a bunch of different things, from salt to vinegar to you name it. There's articles on fencing. There's just a whole bunch of miscellaneous articles. But all of it is stuff that can help you on a daily basis, and also when things go south, if they go south. It's just a ton of information that is on a very, very small flash drive. The thing weighs less than 10 grams. I don't know exactly what it weighs because that's as low as my scale goes. I carry mine in my wallet. Don't even know it's there. And I have all kinds of documents on it, like car titles and birth certificates and stuff like that I scan and put on it. So it's just a good place to keep everything.
Absolutely. Well, I encourage people to get this and give their personal private library a dramatic boost. You'll find dozens of books on there that you'll just be tickled pink to have. Well, Tim, all these issues continue to move forward, and your mantra continues to be to maintain situational awareness, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Know what's going on around you, what's going on in your community, what's going on in the nation and the world. Just be aware. You don't have to be a news hound. Just be aware. And, I've got to admit, I went for years ignoring what was going on locally because my expertise is in geopolitics and stuff like that. And my son-in-law reminds me on a continuing basis I need to pay attention to what goes on locally, and he's right. So now daily, at least once a day, I'm looking at our little local rag that's called the Salem News just to see if anything interesting is going on. Most of the time it's not, but, at least I check the obituaries every day to make sure I ain't died. So.
There's another potential Black Lives Matter coming up here with this Stefan Clark, who was shot to death in California while he was resisting arrest. It has the potential to take off and cause problems like we've seen in the past, doesn't it?
It does. I'm not going to second judge the cops. I wasn't there. But I think the fact, if we're talking about the same guy, the fact the guy didn't have a gun, he had a cell phone, well, I'm assuming it was at night. If it was, I can understand the cop's reaction.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
If it was a young guy especially. In my old age, I've learned to back off of the, deadly force immediately if I feel threatened. I've just outgrown that. But I can understand why a guy that's got 3 little kids and a wife at home isn't going to take any chances. I absolutely understand it. Right.
Well, the circumstances of what little bit I know seem to justify the shooting, best I can tell. But the media, media has this track record of picking the wrong issue for the wrong reasons. Al Sharpton's going to be delivering the eulogy, so it's got the potential to take off, and take on a life of its own, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And especially if you have a rabble-rouser instigator like Al Sharpton there, what can I say? I mean, that's how the man makes his living. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Him and Jesse
we shall
Jackson
see.
You don't hear about so much anymore.
No, not so much anymore. But we shall see. If the George Soros wants to turn this thing into a nationwide matter, it will happen, won't it?
Oh, it will. It will. He's got the money. I just can't understand, since he's American and citizen, why they haven't arrested him for sedition yet. I cannot.
Good question. Well, hopefully the Attorney General is working on that. We got a bottom of the hour break. We'll be back with Tom Berryhill. We'll talk about our favorite product, the energy cleaner. Stay tuned.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 29th of March. This is the 24 minutes I look forward to every week, where we talk about our favorite product, that favorite product being the energy cleaner. We begin these conversations with my friend, the manufacturer of the energy cleaner, Mr. Tom Berryhill, giving us our disclaimer. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, John. We are not doctors or medical professionals. We don't diagnose, treat, or cure any illness or disease. The information discussed today is for your education and entertainment only. If you have a medical condition requiring treatment, you should utilize the services of a medical doctor, chiropractor, or other competent practitioner.
All right. Well, gentlemen, this is the week we do our drawing. Every other week we have a drawing of a postcard. The person whose postcard is drawn gets to buy an energy cleaner, $75 off retail, with $200 of the purchase price going to help fund Republic Broadcasting. So let me reach into the envelope here, fish around, see if I can find just the right postcard and pull it out here. And here it is. We got Brian. Brian from area code 808. Brian, I will be contacting you by email and telephone and let you know that your postcard was drawn and that you have the opportunity to buy an energy cleaner, $75 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. And we'll get that, and we'll get with you and let you know that ASAP. Well, gentlemen, I also this weekend, it's Easter. I want to run a Easter special and Easter sale on energy cleaners. That would be $50 off energy cleaners and 10% off mattress pads from now until midnight Monday. Give people an extra day there. Now until midnight Monday, an Easter special on energy cleaners. $50 off retail and 10% off the mattress pad. So when you place your order, it's an automated system. I'm not going to change my automated system for a 3-day sale. So you'll pay full retail and I refund the difference. If you're writing a check or a money order, just do the math and calculate the mathematics of the sale amount and get that in the mail to me. Have it postmarked before Monday. So that's the Easter sale there. It helps some people get some energy, get some relief here, because I know, Tom, and you know this also, people are struggling economically, aren't they?
Well, they sure are, John. The money's tight everywhere. Everybody's wallet's not as thick as it used to be.
Okay, Tom, you're not there. We're not hearing you.
Well, I'm hearing you fine.
You're back with us, Tom?
I hear Tom.
I hear you,
Tom.
John. I'm here.
John,
I hear you. We hear you now.
Well, I hear you fine, John. I don't know what's wrong.
He can hear you now, Tom.
Okay. I was just asking for your comment on people's and the economic difficulties that they're suffering.
Well, yeah, it's tight everywhere. Everybody's trying hard to get by the best they can, but we make it as easy as we can, John, for them to get this energy cleaner. And also they can make payments through PayPal, so they can spread it out a little bit, and that might help as well.
That's right. Well, my friend Professor McKinney just had some interaction with PayPal that worked out perfectly for him, and he's a happy camper again. So yes, PayPal is the easiest and safest way to make any payment online. Of course, I take MasterCard and Visa, and if people need a minute to mail a money order, well, just drop a money order in the mail. And keep in mind, I offer from me to you personally a 90-day money-back guarantee. Now, if you're not familiar with Energy Cleaner, it's a marvelous healing device. That's what it is, a marvelous healing device. And we focus on pain mitigation. We focus on getting a great night's sleep. I will be talking to Steve Whitman here shortly, in the next day or so, and see about having him on possibly next Thursday, and talk about his new book, which I think is ready for publication, and also talk about his story. Ironically, the first book he wrote, Winning Life's Lottery, is enjoying ever-increasing sales, appears to be by word of mouth. A very powerful story, isn't it, Tim?
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, in fact, we talked about it extensively when he was on my show. So far, I guess because I was around when it happened and knew about what was going on while it happened, to me, I actually liked that book the best out of all of them. Now, not that there's anything wrong with his other 6 or 7 books, but I'm just saying I personally enjoyed that Winning Life's Lottery the best. But like I said, maybe because
it's a true story, and
yes.
Right. Being a true story certainly adds a lot to it. And for those who don't know, we're talking about the book Winning Life's Lottery is Steve Whitman's story about how he survived being shot 3 times with a .45 caliber semi-automatic pistol. And has had a complete recovery, while at the same time giving the Energy Cleaner and myself credit for his having the strength and agility to avoid the 4th and final kill shot and have the rapid recovery. And then the bonus, his wife, since she shares a bed with him, having a complete recovery from lupus, which was unexpected and caught us all by surprise, didn't it, Tom?
Yes, it did. That surprised me. I never expected to hear something like that, but that's really great, and I hope people take notice of that. If you know anybody with any type of illness that they think the Energy Cleaner may help, they should assist that person in getting set up with an Energy Cleaner. And in almost every case, John, of course, it doesn't take care of everything, and sometimes it's a little slow to respond. A lot of people want to flip the switch. We spend our whole lives eating the wrong types of food, the standard American diet, as they call it, and then we get various illnesses and diseases, and everybody wants to flip the switch, and they want it to be all better by just flipping that switch, and the next day they're totally back to normal. Well, it doesn't always work like that. Now, we have had people get instant pain relief.
Well,
within the hour.
Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, within the hour they'll get pain relief. I've seen
That's
that
right.
myself at a seminar, but it doesn't work like that with everything else.
Well, guys, I can tell you from personal experience.
And
no, I was just going to say, John, I can tell you guys from personal experience, one thing people need to be careful of is the Energy Cleaner does not take care of, and I think I counted on the Energy Cleaner too much, and that's serious infections. I'm sure it does a lot for healing. In fact, I know it does a lot for healing. But, I honestly believe it could cure everything. And I've got one less leg now because I believe that. But it does, if you get an infection, folks, you need to go see a doctor. That's all there is to it.
Right.
So it doesn't do everything.
We certainly...
what it does do is wonderful, though.
Right. Well, we certainly don't advocate the energy cleaner be used in place of emergency medical care, and of course your situation was very unique. And the current doctor
the bone healed wonderfully, John.
Determined that the original doctor, right? Current doctors you're working with determined that the original doctors didn't do a proper treatment of that leg and that infection.
Well, as to broken bones, we've seen broken bones heal where it was supposed to take 8 to 10 weeks. That bone was healed in less than 2 weeks.
Well, it was 6 to 7 weeks before my ankle was. They said it was healed, but not to put any weight on it for another month, which I didn't. But it healed very quickly. The bone did.
Yeah,
it's the tissue I had a problem with.
Yeah, I broke a finger, and my little finger on the left hand, and it was pretty bad. It was sticking out sideways. Now, what really hurt was to pull it and straighten it out. And then I made a splint and taped it to the adjacent finger, and then made a splint that fit in the palm of my hand, and taped the whole thing up and wrapped that with foil. That's all I did, and I made a little jumper wire that went in that foil, made contact with the foil, and kept that on that hand, and I would clip the energy cleaner onto that and slept with that, and then kept it on as much of the day as I could. And I'll tell you one thing, there was no swelling and no pain. And within about a week, maybe a week and a half at the most, that was totally healed like nothing ever happened. I have not had any trouble with it at all, and that was about 6 or 7 years ago, something like that.
Well, that's incredible, Tom, and it's fantastic. I think that's great. So one thing we know that the energy cleaner does for sure is heal bone.
Yeah, if there's
Absolutely.
Anybody that...
Well, it also helps.
We must have a delay problem where we're walking all over each other. But anybody that's broken a bone and they end up in the hospital, they'll get the bone set and get a cast or whatever's needed. Once they get home, get that energy cleaner pad on that area where the broken bone is, and just watch how fast it heals. It will amaze the surgeon and anybody else that takes a look at it afterwards. Yeah, it will. They will make a comment about it. I guarantee you that.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, one of my neighbors, he and his wife attend the same church I do. They're using energy cleaner on their ceilings and getting dramatic increase in growth, and they're doing it in such a manner that they have a control group without the energy cleaner signal, and the group that's getting the energy cleaner signal, and taking photographs every few days to show the progress of their seedlings. And it's a really fun project, and I'll be getting that information to Tim so he can post it on my website along with the photographs, Tim.
Yes, we need to do that. Absolutely.
So lots of uses for our people, for our pets, for your seedlings, for your garden in general. An energy cleaner is a very useful tool. I typically have about 3 of them around the ranch, all fired up with 9 batteries and helping out with different parts of what we do at our ranch. And of course, if you only have one, you can move it back and forth because it's very portable, isn't it, Tom?
Yes, it is. And with that in mind, so many people will use it in their car or truck as they travel, and it will really keep you refreshed, and you get to the end of your journey, you're ready to go again if you need to. So it's really helpful if you do a lot of traveling.
Well, over the weekend, I drove to Dallas, Texas, and back. It was a 10.5-hour drive time and about 11.5 hours total. And at the end of that 11.5 hours, I felt pretty good. I mean, I was obviously tired, but not dead dog tired. I still felt pretty good, and probably could have gone a little bit longer if I'd needed to. And that's what I do on my road trips: is use the energy cleaner to help keep refreshed and alert. Which is a safety matter also, isn't it, Tim?
Oh, it is, positively. In fact, I've got to make a trip down to Florida, I'm guessing in June or July. Lori's got to go down there and take care of some stuff for her mother, and I definitely plan on taking that energy cleaner with me.
Well, be sure you do, because you forgot it the last time. And
yes, I did. Yes, I absolutely did. I know by the second or third day you'll be missing it, so be sure and put it where you does not get overlooked when you're doing your last minute packing there. Got a question or comment? In the car.
Absolutely. Got a question or comment about the energy cleaner? If you're getting some good results yourself, let everybody know about it at 800-313-9443. These testimonies from people are very powerful stuff, aren't they, Tim?
Yeah, they are. They are, especially when, somebody that calls up that has no connection with us and, tells about how it's worked for them. Yeah, that's incredibly powerful. People, I'm sure, are tired of hearing me after 8 or 9 years of talking about it. I can say all day what I say, and people are going to think what they want to. But, yeah, when people call up, that, especially people we've never heard from before, and tell us about all the, what a change it's made in their life, yeah, it's incredibly powerful.
It is, absolutely. And there's always new listeners. Yes, we have regular listeners who've heard this message every Thursday for 8 years, on one hand. On the other, I know Steve Whitman says he always gets something new whenever he listens to us. Just a little tidbit here, a little tidbit there that he had not heard or been aware of before. And so we try to keep everything fresh and bring new information to the table, don't we, Tom?
Oh, yeah, that's right, John. We hear back from people using the energy cleaner, and they share their experience with us, and we try to get that information out to everybody every week as we talk about that product.
Absolutely. Well, there's only one way to find out if your energy cleaner works. That's to order one. Get it, take delivery of it. While you're at it, order a mattress pad to go with it, because it's a great combination. And keep in mind, of course, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. And I got a toll-free order line 24 hours a day. If you want to place your order on the telephone, that's 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Got an Easter special, $50 off the energy cleaner, 10% off mattress pads from now until midnight Monday. Run an extra day there to give people a chance to make that commitment and get some energy cleaners out there. $50 off the energy cleaner, 10% off the mattress pads, and it makes it a lot more doable for many people, won't it, Tim?
Oh yeah, positively. That extra $50 could make the difference between them getting one and not getting one. And like you said, money is tight for everybody. I know for a fact it is for Lori and I, and we make fairly good money. So,
Well, I know you're as you've stated publicly before, you're saving up to pay for your property taxes there. It's an annual thing, and it is not optional. It is not optional; it has to be paid. So, yes, it'll help, and I'm in contact with people all the time by email and telephone who tell me how they're saving money to be able to buy their energy cleaner. And of course, there's always the energy cleaner procrastinators who have the money, but for whatever reason aren't quite ready to bite the bullet yet. Right, Tom?
That's right. And we can talk about setting an energy cleaner up for your garden when we come back.
Absolutely. We'll do that. Stay tuned.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. May 5th is the last day you will hear this offer on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5. This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. May 5th is the last day you will hear this offer on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday the 29th. Garden season is nigh upon us, and Tom's going to give us a quick thumbnail sketch on how to dramatically increase the production of your garden. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, to get the seedlings going, you can spread out some aluminum foil or even screen wire or chicken wire, anything like that that's conductive, on a tabletop. Make sure it's insulated from ground. You don't want anything touching ground. Connect the energy cleaner cable onto that. Set your seedlings on in their pots on top of that wire grid, and it will greatly help with their growth. Tim will probably comment about that. Then once the seedlings are ready to go in the garden, you put fence posts in. They're available at any farm supply store. You get a roll of chicken wire. All those pretty inexpensive. And then you'd want some electric fence insulators. And then you make sure the chicken wire is suspended over the plants. And with the fence posts that have the holes in them, they have a series of holes. You can easily work that grid of chicken wire up and down as needed for the growth of the plants. You want to stay as close to the plants as possible and just have that chicken wire over the top of them and make sure it's not grounded. That's why we use the insulators, and then clip onto that chicken wire at any point. It's not critical. Just as long as you can clip onto it with the energy cleaner cable, it will really help that group of plants to grow rapidly. And of course, you should keep the energy cleaner in a plastic bag or a plastic container, something to keep the sunlight off of it and keep the moisture off of the energy cleaner, and keep that out of the direct sunlight, and you're ready to go. It's pretty simple.
It is pretty simple and very effective, and people need to look into this. There's so many ways that you can use the energy cleaner to help yourself, to help your pets, your children, your garden, just help you when you're doing those long drives. Just wonderful piece of equipment that will change your life in many positive ways. It's hard to anticipate ahead of time how positive the change can be, isn't it, Tim?
It is. You know, it's like when I tried it on those seedlings, you know, and this has been probably 5 years ago now. You know, I knew it would help, but I had no idea how much it would help. You know, and like I said, I got caught flat-footed on that garden, wasn't ready. So my advice is have your garden ready, folks, before you start your seedlings if you're going to use the energy cleaner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Get them ready. Get your garden ready for those seedlings because they're going to pop up out of them little containers and be ready to go, won't they, Tim?
Mm-hmm. They absolutely will.
I catch you getting a drink of coffee there?
Yeah, that's okay.
It's okay. Tom, thanks for being with us. We'll have you back next Thursday. Tim, you want to hold over the second hour?
Yeah, you betcha.
Oh, okay, we'll do some radio. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here, our second hour on Thursday, the 29th of March. Prepper tip of the day, I want to encourage all of you to check out your local charity-run thrift shops. I rarely go to Goodwill anymore. They, in my opinion, are overpriced for what they've got. But the charity-run thrift shops are still bargains where you can shop for yourself. Shop for those future refugees that may show up unexpected. Make sure that there's extra shoes. Well, one of the local thrift stores I go to, you can buy boots and shoes for men and women, boys and girls, for 50 cents a pair, which I've filled up several black plastic trash bags with dozens of pairs of boots and shoes for everywhere from toddlers to adult men, of course. So that's your prepper tip of the day. We're back for our second hour here. Tim Spencer, the proprietor of ruralsurvival.info. We'll be talking about anything and everything of interest. If you got a question or comment, give us a call at 800-313-9443. Tim, I met some interesting people over the weekend when I was at the Hear the Watchman conference. One of them told me that she interviewed a high-level person with FEMA at one time, and this high-level person with FEMA told her the following, that Hussein Obama was appointing new heads of the different FEMA regions who were all transsexuals, and that they couldn't find enough qualified transsexuals, so they had homosexual men volunteer for free surgery in order to be qualified to fill these slots. I thought about that for several hours, and just before I went to bed that evening, while I was down in Dallas, I came to the following conclusion. I want some feedback on this. I believe the plan was to make an uncomfortable, inhospitable workplace for alpha male warriors who might be working at FEMA, so that they would leaving behind the employees who were not alpha male warriors. What do you think?
Yeah, what they call the beta males and the homosexuals. I would say you're probably correct. That's the only logic I could see there. Really and truly it is.
Now, extrapolating from that into the U.S. military, I've spent decades working around alpha male warriors, both in the military and with law enforcement. And majority of alpha male warriors I know don't even want to be breathing the same air and be in the same room with homosexual men, transgender men who want to become women. They simply don't want to occupy the same space, do they?
No, absolutely not.
So when you've got men dressing up like women, in fact, I got a funny story for you here, Tim. I was at a retail outlet yesterday making a purchase, and so I'm standing there in line waiting for the checkout, and a man walks up behind me to be the next in line with his item, and he was wearing Bermuda shorts, had on flip-flop sandals, and I noticed that he had bright red toenail polish on his toenails.
All right.
Yeah, I know. And ironically, he was buying a woman's purse. So this was a overweight 50-something-year-old male who, if he was to wear a woman's clothing, would be a really, really ugly woman. But I didn't say anything. And
that wouldn't do any good anyway.
No, of course not. What would be the point? But getting back to the military, I first started seeing this integration of females into the military back in the 1980s. Actually, when I went back into the reserves, when I first observed it firsthand, around 1981, I guess it was. And I didn't think a whole lot about it at the time, but since then, it's become a lot more ubiquitous, a lot more widespread, where they're now putting females into job categories that have always been 100% male. And I think, once again, it's to make the alpha males uncomfortable so that they will either not go there in the first place to volunteer to be part of the Special Forces or Army Rangers, and the ones that are there won't want to stay there because they don't feel safe, they don't feel secure, having women in the chain of command at any point, from the lowest to the highest. Women make decisions based on emotion, don't they?
Yeah, they do. You know, that is one thing that worries me when we're talking about submarines, SSBNs, and fast boats for that matter. You know, what happens when we get a woman CO? It just happens to be that time of month. And she decides that a Russian has pissed her off. You know, what's she going to do? Blow it out of the water? Launch a nuke? You know, that it makes me wonder. You know, where a man, no matter, you know, especially a CO of a submarine, you know, it can be a really, really tight situation, but he's not going to lose his cool. He's not going to get mad. You know, it's a job. And it makes me wonder about some of these women that get so emotional. You know, what happens if they're put in the same position? I'm not saying there's women that can't handle it. I'm sure there is. But, you know, that kind of was worrying a little bit to me, John.
Well, and that's very justified, in my opinion. The best place for women to serve with honor and distinction in the branches of the military, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, is in the medical corps, where they can make the best use of their God-given gifts, where they will have the rank of an officer to help give them a level of protection they would not have otherwise. And that's what works. We have a track record of that working quite well during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And that's the right thing and the proper thing for women to do if they want to serve in the U.S. military, is to be in the medical corps and serve with honor and distinction. And it will make the best use of their capabilities. Their emotions will be in a proper perspective in that medical situation. And I would like to, I don't know what's going on, obviously. I don't have knowledge of what Donald Trump is intending to do with the balance of his 3 years of office, and hopefully another 4 on top of that. But I would like to see them backing off from anything and everything to do with women being integrated into the Corps. What do you think, sir?
Well, I absolutely agree. However, you know, he's got, in a way, he's sort of got to defer to his generals and his admirals. Right now, the generals and admirals that are in there came up under Obama, and they are apparently very much pro putting women and transvestites and homosexuals into combat fields. And, you know, I guess he could just flat out say no and do like Obama did and fire a bunch of generals and admirals. But, you know, I don't know what the answer is when the military brass is backing this.
Well, they were given no choice. And it's hard to say which of those flag rank officers did it because that was what was in their heart, and which ones did it because they knew that anything else would not be tolerated and they would be retired.
Right.
But there's no reason why Donald Trump can't do what Hussein Obama did and relieve the officers who go along with the homosexual agenda and bring back onto active duty the ones who understand and know that that's a really bad thing for the military. No reason why he can't do that at all, is there?
No, there isn't. There isn't. Other than at this point in time, he knows more than you or I either one about the current environment. You and I both have been out of it for a lot of years. He might decide that it's not worth the risk right at this time of taking what experience he does have in the military and getting rid of it. That could be it. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Well, it could be disruptive. If it's not done incrementally, it could be very disruptive to the.
And that was something Hussein Obama didn't care about.
Right. Right, especially if you want to destroy the military in the first place. But these, at that level of flag rank officers, they rotate in and out of commands. Typically, they would be in command of a fort or whatever it might be for about a year. That's a typical tour of duty at that level, where they rotate these men in and out of the different slots for assignment. So if it's done within the normal rotation of these officers, I think it would be a good thing and not disruptive. What do you think?
Well, if it was done that way, I agree. I agree completely, John. There would have to be, incrementally. That's the word, incrementally. Absolutely. But, and
of course, we need to go back to the...
Go ahead.
Well, we need to make some changes at the military academies, Army, Navy, Air Force, military academy. The Air Force Academy is out of control with what they're doing there. They need to be brought back into the fold. But the Navy and the Army, West Point and Annapolis, also have their issues of bringing these young women into the academy. That needs to be terminated. They've been doing it now for about 40 years. A friend of mine, I served with him in Special Forces. He was a senior at West Point when the first females showed up, and it was an absolute disaster.
I bet.
And still is. All the men know that if they had the same upper body strength as a woman, they'd be sent home to their mamas and not tolerated or allowed to be a cadet. But the women are given a free pass, and everybody knows it. It's no secret.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like I think it was West Point. It might have been Naval Academy. It was one of the Armed Forces branches schools. They had two men get married here just a month or two ago. I'm pretty sure it was West Point, but right there on campus, two cadets or whatever they call them got married. Two men. When you and I were in, nothing like that would even be considered, much less tolerated. No,
it would be so far from any consideration. Can you see the reaction of General MacArthur or General George C. Patton at the mere mention of something like that?
Patton would have just started shooting people. MacArthur would have definitely blown a gasket.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, George Patton carried a Colt Frontier single-action .45 caliber pistol into combat, and he did shoot it at a German fighter plane while the German fighter plane was shooting at him. At least that's what happened in the film. I don't know if that happened in real life, but having read as much as I've read about Patton, I think it's highly likely that he did pull that pistol and shoot at the German aircraft. He very likely hit it too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing that would make it better is if the engine started smoking and that plane had gone down in the moon.
Yeah, well, that would have been a good scene if it had happened. But, the communists and liberals figured out that they could use the military academies for social experimentation. Once they could control certain aspects of this, and they managed to do that, and this would be something for Jeff Nyquist to be talking about next Wednesday. But I'm absolutely convinced that the men and women behind this are absolutely communists. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, but I don't know if they know they're communists. Yes, I agree that they are, and they're definitely being directed by a communist agenda. But I don't know if they believe that title fits them.
It may be a mixed bag. It may,
yeah.
And I've been around some groups that had communists in them, and they don't proclaim themselves to be communists. And when I found out later they were in fact communists, they'll call themselves progressives. They'll call themselves liberals. They used to do that. They call themselves Democrats. Even though in their heart and privately they will admit to being communists, they won't do that publicly because nobody would pay attention to them, at least very few, especially in the middle of the country.
Right. Well, John, something I've always wondered is these people that, like you said, in their heart they're communists, it makes me wonder, one, if they have any inkling about past world history, just the past 100 years, or two, if they are just really that dumb. Communism is great on paper. The problem is human greed gets into it.
Right. Well, human nature.
The main problem. Yeah.
Human nature is human nature, and the people who came to Jamestown, Massachusetts, to settle there, they attempted a primitive form of communism, and they almost starved to death.
Right.
And that's just human nature rearing its ugly head. That if you provide a situation where people think they don't need to work and can still consume food and shelter and clothing, they won't. That's just human nature being human nature. So communism is a failed concept, a failed philosophy, but the people who support it and back it with their time and money, they still believe that it's the real deal. And of course, if and when the Russians ever take over this country, the first people they'll lock up and put against the wall to shoot and execute will be the Americans who believed in communism, won't they? That's what they do everywhere.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, Hitler, now socialist, but still, look at, the people that put Hitler into power, once he gained power, he got rid of them all. That's what happened to the brown shirts.
Right. They weren't the people who put him into power. The people who put him into power financially were the industrialists, because they saw.
Oh yeah,
that
financially, yeah.
Yeah, the brown shirts were the brown shirts were the true believers who actually were in the streets with him initially.
Right. You're correct. You're absolutely correct, and I stand corrected. When I said put him into power, I meant purely the muscle. The numbers.
And quite frankly, many, if not most, of the brown shirts had some serious psychosis going on. Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient And a bonus, you can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 29th of March. Tim, we got new listeners every hour, of course. Give people a quick heads up on your radio show on Saturdays. Hello, Tim.
Okay, that's twice this month I've done, John. Forgot the mute button.
Okay.
Sorry.
Give us a quick heads up on your radio show on Saturdays, please.
Yeah. Sure. All right, folks. The Rural Survival Show is from 10 a.m. till noon on Saturdays, right here on RVN. And this is where my dear wife, Lori, and I, and Rick from Missouri, talk about all kinds of stuff. A lot of information on gardening, a lot of stuff on farm life in general. We throw in some geopolitics and some news occasionally. And basically, we just all sit down and have a conversation. We have pretty much nonstop callers, and we talk about everything and anything. And we hope that you'll join us.
All right. Tim, we do have some news here. It looks like the two leaders of North and South Korea are going to have a summit meeting on April the 27th, which is not quite a month away.
Right, that's a Friday.
That's pretty significant, isn't it?
It's very significant, John. And I chalk it all up to Trump taking such a hard line with Kim. I don't think the sanctions did much, but I think the threat of Kim losing power, which would have been the inevitable result of a full-scale U.S. attack on North Korea, is probably what did it. You know, we know that he's been avoiding the sanctions. So, you know, I think that threat alone is what has brought Kim to the bargaining table. And, of course, Kim met with President Xi there, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and apparently that was a very good meeting, and China's all on board with Dayton, apparently.
Well, I hope that's real.
I do, too.
We don't need any wars. The only people that win in the wars are the people that finance them. So I truly, truly hope and pray that this will be the real deal and we can find peace on the Korean Peninsula. The next we need to go to, China is continuing to threaten Taiwan and expand the dragon into all throughout the Pacific area. And, of course, we got the issues with Russia and the Crimea and the never-ending issues of the Middle East, which is an absolute morass. I think we just need to leave the Middle East, quite frankly, and let the Muslims kill each other. There's nothing. We got all the oil we could ever use for 100 years. We don't need anything they've got, do we?
No, we don't. The only reason we have been importing it in such large quantity is to prop up the petrodollar. Now that the petrodollar is becoming redundant with Chinese gold-backed yuan, which everybody is starting to trade in much faster than anybody thought it would happen, I think you're going to very quickly see, within 18 to 24 months, us importing next to nothing from the Middle East, because it makes no difference for the dollar anymore.
Right. Well, let them keep their oil and their bizarre, freakish, barbaric, dangerous religion, quote unquote, which is not just a religion. It's a plan and a conspiracy to take over the world, isn't it?
Right. It is a plan. It's an openly stated plan.
Right.
And right now, Erdogan in Turkey sees himself as the potential leader for that worldwide caliphate. And he doesn't make any secret about it.
No. Well, he believes himself to be the inheritor of the Ottoman Empire, which ruled how many time zones? Probably 6 or 7 time zones for 6 centuries. And he believes that he is the rightful heir to leading the newly reestablished, I should say, Ottoman Empire, doesn't he?
Right. And, I'm sure his intention, as is already being demonstrated on the ground, is to retake Syria, retake Iraq, retake Yemen, Saudi Arabia. Let's look at what the old Ottoman Empire was, and then think how much more he's going to want and how much more he's capable of getting unless somebody stands up to him.
Well, he's already got his troops past the gates of Vienna, where on September the 11th, was it 17? No, what was it? What year was it?
I don't remember, John.
16. I think it was 1657. I might be wrong on that. The middle of the 17th century.
1674, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. At the Battle of Vienna, the Muslim army was stopped by the Christian army, combined Christian armies of Europe. Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Thursday, the 29th of March. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. There's lots there, things that will educate you, inform you, entertain you, possibly make you angry. Lots of possibilities there. You can spend a lot of time on our website reading the different things, watching the videos. We tend to be pretty picky about the videos that we post. There's literally tens of thousands of videos people could watch, and we've just got maybe 5 or 6 videos posted there that I believe to be important enough to watch, such as the Master Sergeant Roy Benavides speech in 1991. I was privileged and honored to have lunch with Mr. Benavides, some of my Special Forces buddy and myself. We got together with him. He was in St. Louis for an event, and it was a very special time for me to spend that hour or so with Roy Benavides, a true hero in my opinion. Winner of the Medal of Honor for his what he did in Vietnam that fateful day. Also, my website, of course, you'll find the energy cleaner for sale. This is my home business. We have a special going from now until midnight Monday, $50 off energy cleaners, 10% off mattress pads. When you place your order, you'll be paying full price, full retail. I refund the difference. It's an automated system. Don't ask my order takers about the special. They won't have a clue what you're talking about. They just take the orders. So place your order for the energy cleaner and the mattress pad, 10% off, and I will refund the difference. So that goes from now until midnight Monday. If you're mailing a check or money order, make sure it's postmarked before midnight Monday. Visiting with Tim Spencer, the proprietor of ruralsurvival.info, a place where people can learn anything and everything to do with hobby farms. Right, Tim?
You got it, buddy.
Well, I got a question for you. It may take some time for this to happen, but I was just noticing this morning on Drudge, the lowest number of unemployment since for 40 years, basically. And what impact has that had, if any, on the horse business in Missouri?
None that I can know.
Not enough. Not enough time has passed. Jobless claims declined to lowest level since 1973. That sounds like 45 years to me, don't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, it'll take a while. Yeah. Consumer confidence highest since 2004. It'll take away. Now, Missouri is the biggest horse state in the United States. You may think, it'd be Colorado or Texas or Montana. Missouri is the biggest horse state in the United States, especially in the Ozarks. Ideal horse country, plenty of nice green grass, all the water the horses need to drink, and a culture that certainly is attracted to horses. Right, Tim?
Oh, yeah. And mules are almost as big as horses, not in numbers, but as far as popularity goes. In fact, the mules draw a tremendous price compared to horses, at least here locally.
Well, I have not rode a saddle-broke mule yet. I'm looking forward to it because what I'm hearing about saddle-broke mules is that they're stronger, smarter,
yes,
more dependable than a horse. All of which sounds pretty good to me. Right.
I agree.
Now, they're a larger animal than a horse, typically. Do you need a special saddle for a mule?
Well, the one we had, I didn't. I've got a foxtrotter, what's the word? Pasofino foxtrotter cross, which is not a large horse. And the mule we had, I put her saddle on it, and it fit just fine. Now, I never got on her. I just wanted to see if the saddle would fit.
Right, right. Was she saddle broke?
Oh, yeah, she was. I just wasn't brave enough. I'd never ridden a mule before either, and I still haven't, even though we had one.
Well,
they're completely different than horses. In intelligence, to start with, they're too smart for their own good.
Really?
And they've got an attitude, most of them. I didn't know it at the time, but before I got rid of her, apparently she had gotten away from a guy that lives down Highway P and had come up here, jumped in the fence. He found her, and since that was the only animal he had, he decided it'd be better for her if she just stayed with our horses.
Uh-huh.
Now, about $2,000 in feed later, I wish she'd have let us know that.
Well, large animals have large appetites.
Yes, they do. But, I put ads in the paper and everything else, but apparently he knew it was here and just let it stay there.
Uh-huh.
So, anyway,
but
I gave her to somebody that would actually... Say again?
Let you pay for the food. I say again, let you pay for the food.
Oh, I don't even know. Lori's been buying it for the past year.
No, I mean, the owner of that mule was letting you pay for the food.
Yeah, exactly. And if he'd have wanted it back, I'm sure he would have come and said, "Hey, that's my mule."
Well, you did the right thing, attempting to find the owner with ads in the newspaper, and I'm sure word got around the neighborhood, too. How far away was the owner in miles?
About a mile.
About a mile. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I'm looking forward to riding a saddle-broke mule for the first time. It certainly sounds like the way to go to me. If you want a strong, healthy, smart transportation, that may be the way to go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is. But where that particular mule is at now, it's used for coon.
Really? Okay. Well, at ruralsurvival.info, you'll find literally hundreds of articles, anything and everything to do with hobby farms, animal husbandry, gardening. Just it's all there, isn't it? And more coming, right, Tim? Hello, Tim. We dropped Tim. Okay, well he'll reconnect here. It's a great opportunity to get an education there at ruralsurvival.info, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to become a writer and publish articles at ruralsurvival.info, Tim would be glad to hear from you. He typically only edits for. There you're back. You're back,
John. Yeah, I don't know what happened. The phone just shut off.
Okay, I was just encouraging people to become writers for ruralsurvival.info and letting them know that you only edit for punctuation and spelling. You don't edit for content, do you?
No, you're absolutely correct. If something is completely untoward, I will let the writer know that and know that we won't publish it as it is. I've only done that one time in the past 9 years. So, you know,
that's quite a track
pretty much anything goes.
That's quite a track record. And it's a fun project, something that you took on 9 years ago to help people do what you've been doing now for decades, which is to have a hobby farm where you and your family can be safe during a crisis, have food during a crisis, and during normal times, just have a really fun, neat place to live and raise children, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I often say that moving here was probably the smartest move I ever made, that Lori and I made together, I should say. Yeah, I do miss the ocean. I do miss saltwater fishing. I miss being out on the ocean on a boat. But there's so much here to make up for it. You know, there truly is. And so many things that we don't have here that, let's say, Florida or, you know, South Mississippi or Southern Louisiana has that I don't want any part of.
You mean like fire ants, for example? Like fire ants?
Fire ants.
Right.
Yeah. People. Tons and tons of people.
Understood. Yep. Well, you're living in the Ozark in the Missouri Ozarks because of the map that you saw.
That's correct, John.
Yep. And when you saw that map, you were told by a Master Chief who was probably old enough to be your father, probably mid to late 40s. Would you say?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you were in your
50s.
You were in your early 20s.
In my early 20s. Yeah.
So he was easily old enough to be your father, and he said something to the effect of, "Young sailor, when it comes time to retire, you want to move to one of the white areas." And the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks were indicated on this map as white, weren't they?
Yes, they were. Yes. It was almost a circle or oval that sort of went from the far side of Springfield down into Arkansas, up through the Ozarks here, probably a third of the way between here and St. Louis, sort of like an oval. And that was one place that just stuck in my mind. And then when I saw how many other people that I knew were moving here, that really cinched it for me.
Right. Well, you figured at the time, well, these guys must know something, right?
Right, exactly. But, you know, John, I didn't know about the sea level rise back then.
Right.
And that wasn't told to me. I honestly believed it was the best place to survive a nuclear war. Because, remember, that was during the Cold War, during the height of it. And, daily, we got all this intel saying it's close, it's close. Well, the good part is it stayed close and never happened. So, that's the reason. And, of course, when I met up with you, I learned about the sea level rise, which now makes more sense than the survivability of nuclear war. So, am I still on? Hello? All right, well, the easiest way, folks, is write your article, email it to me at office@ruralsurvival.info. That's office@ruralsurvival.info. Let me take a look at it, and we go from there. And, of course, if you've got your own website, you get credit for that on your page. So, yeah, it's worth doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I looked up during the break there. The Battle of Vienna was September 11th, 1683.
Yes, I looked at it, too, and forgot to tell you.
Well, that's where it didn't have NATO back then, but it was the 1683 version of NATO, where the Christian princes and kings of Europe combined their armies from all over Europe to gather together and stop the Muslims, because they knew that if they didn't, they'd all be have their heads cut off, didn't they?
Exactly. And that confederation is what turned the tide, because the Ottoman Empire had quite a reputation for victory.
That's right. Well, in the meantime, the Ottomans and the Muslims did raiding parties to raid these coastal areas of England, Ireland, Scotland, and other places to capture slaves, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And remember, even at the birth of this country, they still had the pirates, the Islamic pirates, raiding our shipping. So that lasted well past the 1683 point.
Right. Well, that's where the Marine Corps hymn, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. And
that's right.
Thomas Jefferson had a copy of the English translation of the Quran in his private library, so we could understand our enemies, not because he admired Muhammad, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
That's right. Well, pay heed, ladies and gentlemen. Maintain your situational awareness, and don't be an energy cleaner procrastinator, right, Tim?
Exactly.
Okay. And tune in to Tim's show, 10 a.m. Central Time on Saturdays. It's a lot of fun. I know people get a lot out of it, won't they, Tim?
Oh, yeah, they always do. And we do have fun. Week before last, we had Mike from Kentucky playing Bonnie Blue Star on harmonica the last 5 minutes of the show. So, yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, we're pretty much at the end here, Tim. I want to thank you for being with us, as always.
Oh, I enjoyed it, John. I enjoyed it.
And absolutely. I look forward to having you back next Thursday. Thank you, sir.
All right. You have a good one, John.
Okay. Appreciate it. Well, tomorrow, my friend Tom Berryhill will be talking about emerging communications, and then Dr. Phil Myers wrapping up the week. And in the meantime, get your medical supplies, your energy cleaning, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms, ammunition. Never, ever give up your guns. Please do have a fun, safe, productive day, and God bless America.